what's going on, everyone? I just wanted to check back in, give you guys a quick little update on what's been going on in the sector, do a quick little follow-up on my last video, and see what we can anticipate in the coming trading days. So let's start off with Canopy Growth, ticker symbol WEED. So in our last video, we talked about how we were in a tightening range that we were seeing on the hourly, and we mentioned that essentially a break of this range, and it would tell us, which direction the move was going to go, whether it was going towards the upside with some bull momentum, or if it was going to break further down with some bearish momentum to see if we can find that higher low. So one thing that I mentioned in my last video is that I said if we were going to have a break of 50.06, which was essentially $50 psychologically on this tightening range here with some bull volume, that we were going to see some further bull momentum and essentially more room to the upside with our resistance points in place. And you can see that I have a resistance point here at 57.60, which I had drawn out before, as well as 56, 55, 65, and 52.80. And essentially, we just, as soon as we broke $50, we essentially, as you can see here with the ramp up in volume, huge volume. You can see, 400, 500, 600,000, 1 million, 1 million, and that essentially, close to probably 6-7 million traded. We had our essential huge move upwards, created the series of higher lows and higher highs until we found our top here at 57.74. We did a double top at 57.70, essentially broke down before we created our new higher low in comparison to 51.44 at 54.75, and since then we've had our bounce, and again it looks like we have an inside bar forming on the 30-minute. Let's see how that looks like in the 4-hour. So you can even see in the 4-hour a little bit even clearer that we had our, we had two inside bars showing within the 4 hours, so giving us again clear indicators of what was to come. And then you can see literally the move that we broke, we had 2.5 million traded in that second half of the day, and then the first half of today we had another 6 million traded. So obviously these are two significant moves, and it looks like our high may be in for now, because we are seeing the 4-hour show us that our high may be in for now. So if we want to continue the bull momentum, similar story as last time, we'll need to create a higher low in comparison to our low set here, which would be at 46.89, and essentially create another higher high and continue stair-stepping our way through. So as far as short-term levels are concerned and what we can expect, essentially we'll have support at, as I mentioned, at 54.75, 52.80, and 48.12 as the next levels to watch out. And we'll see what happens. We are actually closing in on also on a bullish MACD cross. So we'll see how that plays out. But I would say watch out tomorrow for essentially what happens with this 4-hour inside bar. Essentially same story as last time, a break of 57.74 with bullish momentum. We'll head further towards upside, and then a break of 51.44 with some bearish momentum, and we'll head further down. And you can see even on this last 4-hour of the day here, we had a lot of selling, so that gives you an indicator of what's to come tomorrow, potentially a gap down. So we'll see how that plays out. So let's take a look at ACB and see what ACB is doing and what we can expect in the coming trading days as well with ACB. So again, a lot of these names they all kind of follow each other, and they do similar things, obviously different patterns, different price ranges, but essentially they all move in a very, very similar fashion. So when one is doing something, usually the other is kind of following suit. So they have their correlations there, but I would always say still look at each chart, break it down, and see what's to come from it. So similar thing, since we found our low at 725, we've had quite a bounce since then. I would say that's about 15% move. So we've had a nice 15% move to the upside. We have a spinning top candlestick, which shows that our top may be in for now. And that top would come at 1009. So this would be our new resistance point for now. And if we look further into the 4-hour, again, similar story. All we want to do before I go into the 4-hour is similar thing. If we want to continue this bull momentum, we'll essentially need to consolidate a little bit, create a higher low, and essentially a higher high, and then see if that daily trend will reverse and head towards some more gains in the future. So when we look at the 4-hour, as we saw. And one thing also to note on ACB, even when I break it down into the 15 minutes here, let me give you guys a quick look. So even on ACB, this was, again, during the same time frame when we set the ranges on wheat as well. You'll also see a similar story on Aphria. So essentially, we had our high at 928. Found our low at 863, and within that we created a series of lower highs and higher lows, and essentially we stayed in this tightening kind of equilibrium pattern, and basically it was very clear, a break of this with some bull momentum behind it, and we will head towards the upside. A break of the low at 863, and we'll head towards some downside. So we had a fake out here, a little fake out break with no real follow through. And as I mentioned, things have to have significant volume behind it to make sure that signal is actually a lot more stronger and plays in your favor. So similar story. We had the fake out. We found our low again, lower high, tighten it up, and essentially as you can see on the 15 minutes, you saw the bulls kind of took control here. More volume came through, and then we essentially had our break before we had our high at 1006, and then now we've hit our low at 977. Double top again, 1009. I consider that a double top, triple top even. And since then we haven't been able to break 1009 as our resistance point, and now we're starting to set some more lower highs and lower lows. So I would expect further downside on the stock. We look at it on the hourly, similar story. We hit our high, new higher low, break of 959. We head towards downside, and so on and so forth. And even if you want to just look at it on a quick weekly chart, found our high, at 1624 when we hit all-time highs. We've now established our new low on the weekly chart, which is good, and it's a positive sign. So you established that at 725, and now we'll be looking to set our higher low, our higher low, and then higher high, and then essentially, if we can change the weekly trend, then that will follow through on the daily, so on and so forth, and we'll be looking towards some more bull momentum. So taking a look at Aphria real quick. Now Aphria, as I said, towards the other tickers, they all follow through, but they all have different price ranges, and they all have different patterns, but essentially, again, they're all following similar things. So since our dump, we found our low. So let's draw some lines here since I don't have any. We found our low at 1237. And then after finding our low at 1237, we had a bounce, again, about a 15% move. You can say, give or take about 10%, sorry. So we've had a 10% move. We've found a high so far at 1704. It is also a spinning top candlestick. Again, that could potentially indicate that our high may be in for now. We'll need to see some further consolidation, create our higher low, and essentially head back towards the upside if this trend will reverse. And we look at it on the 4-hour, again, similar story as the other names. We had an inside bar form. And essentially a break of 1704, and we'll see further upside, and then a break of 1557, and we'll have to go further down to create that higher low and essentially see what will happen going forward. So it'll have to be a higher low, of course, over 1237. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And then essentially, you can even see on the hourly chart, same thing. We did a double top on the hourly again at $17 psychologically. Since then, we've again set a new low in comparison to 1557 at 1623. If we don't break 1704, you can potentially expect another lower low and head towards our further support levels of 1557. And then the next support level will be at 1465, and then essentially 1395 as your next levels to watch out for. If we want to look at the weekly real quick, again, similar towards the other names. The only difference between Aphria's weekly chart is it's a little bit weaker than some of the other names, because when we hit our high in January of 2018 at 2475, we didn't break that high like the other names did, like weed and ACB. We actually set a lower high in comparison to that at $22, and since then we've had that dump in October where all the names dumped. Again, series of lower highs and lower lows before we found our bottom at 1237. Bulls bought the dip, and you can see big wick, big lower wick there, and now we are essentially looking to create that higher low and higher high to change this trend. So with that said, that's ACB, weed, and Aphria. Hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. I'll be looking to post these videos a lot more in the coming days, so hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, please subscribe, share, and like the video, and hope to see you guys soon. Have a great night.